Okay. Oh, I didn't get the paper. Let me go get it.
Okay.
We're live already, though. Are you sitting there looking all awkward?
Yeah.
How come you didn't start?
No, just waiting for people to come on.
Okay. Well, we're gonna save it.
Okay.
We're gonna save it, and then because you could save it and leave it on there, so that way people could just watch the playback. Because I mean, I doubt that everybody's gonna, whoever wants to watch it is gonna come on right now. Hey guys.
Hi everyone.
Can you guys hear us good? Just let us know if you could hear us. Did it freeze?
I don't know. If you guys can hear us, put us a thumbs up.
Okay, she said she could hear us.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thanks. How does it sound? Does it sound muffled? Or does it sound okay? It froze for a bit. Yadira, does it sound like clear or does it sound far away?
What's that?
Mario's friend.
Oh.
I wonder if they could hear anything. We're just sitting here staring at it. This is going to be the whole hour, guys. We're just going to sit here and look at each other.
It's just going to be two girls just laughing it off.
No. Well, we want to know if you guys could hear us and if it sounds good or if it sounds far away. Because we have like a little adapter on the phone, so we just want to make sure that it's working. Okay, they can hear us. Okay.
Yes. All right, cool.
All right, so we're not going to really wait for people to come on. We're just going to start because we want to try to keep it at an hour or under an hour. Like, because really, what are you going to say for a whole hour, right? And then we're going to save it. And then whoever wants to go back and watch the playback, you guys could do that. So here you go, because it drinks. Okay, so in real time. In real time. Okay, we're gonna start with, we already prayed. Okay, we prayed before we got on the live. And we're just gonna keep it real with you guys. Like, we prayed before we got on the live because we don't want this to be religious content. Like, we really don't want to push this as like some type of Christian like podcast or anything like that. Like, we really just our idea behind this was really just showing you guys what our walk with looks like behind the scenes. Basically, I think that one of the things that we've noticed on social media, because we do follow a lot of Christian content, and we've been saved like briefly around the same time, we tend to see a lot of like what kind of looks like finished product, basically, right? So like people will show like, even if you go to my page, like if you go to my page on Instagram, like you see pictures of like my husband and I, and like, you know, we look all smiles and everything, and we are, but it didn't get like that overnight. There was a process that went into that. And that's kind of what we want to show you guys. So in real time means, I'm going to read this, and this is just like, I just Googled it, okay? So in real time means something that happens or is communicated at the actual time that it is happening without any noticeable delay. It signifies immediacy and synchronicity as opposed to being recorded or taking place after the fact. So one of the things that Tanya and I do, she's just sitting here staring at me. I don't know why she's not talking, but she actually talks a lot more than she's trying to show right now.
I'm like, once they get to know me, then they're going to be like, hey, shut up.
So one of the things that Tanya and I do a lot, because we spend a lot of time together, she's kind of like the only person that can put up with me. So I'm kind of like forced to say. It's like, I have to call her and remind her, like, please don't break up with me. Like, I don't have any friends left. Like, I know I've been MIA for 3 days, but I promise I'm just going through it. But we do spend a lot of time together, and we process things with each other. Like, what am I going through? What are you going through? Like, what's going on in your life and what's going on in my life, and how do we handle this? How do we handle this as a believer? And how do I manage to not like lose my shit, basically?
Yeah.
And I know that sounds like some kind of way, but it's the truth. Like, so that's what we wanted to show you guys. So that's what in real time is going to be. And this is our first episode, and we're just kind of trying it out. So please give us some grace. We're new to this, okay?
Yeah. Don't be too hard on us.
Yeah. So we're not going to really do a lot of like interaction with the comments. If you guys do like in the future, maybe have questions and stuff like that, then I guess we could go about it that way. But for the rest of the episode, we're just going to basically, we're just going to have a conversation with each other. We actually haven't talked that much today.
Yeah, we haven't.
Briefly in the morning. So.
Yeah, and when we talk, it's always with the voice text message.
Yeah. And that's how this whole thing kind of started. Because we talk a lot and we talk about everything and anything. We don't text, like we send each other voice messages. Mm-hmm. So Tanya will say something like, well, just to keep it short, and then she'll be like, and then the voice message is like 11 minutes long. So I'm walking around the house listening to my phone like a crazy person. And my daughter actually started saying like, oh, are you listening? Is that your podcast? So she calls Tanya my podcast. So then Tanya was like, we should do a podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm trying to get money. I'm just kidding.
Hey, times are tough right now. Shoot, gotta make money one way.
So, yeah, so that's how this whole thing started. And at first, I really didn't want to do it.
Yeah, because you never want to do anything. Just kidding.
No, she's not kidding. I don't want to.
Sometimes.
I used to want to do stuff. Mm-hmm. I used to want to be all over social media. I am still, like, I post things, but I used to want to be a lot more active on social media. I used to actually share a lot more of my personal life. Mm-hmm. And then what happened? The system broke me. And then I was like, I don't want to have nothing to do with anybody anymore. So it took a little bit of her like, kind of like, oh, we're going to do this podcast thing. And I was like, yeah. And then here we are.
Yeah. I was the one pushing it.
Yeah.
I was like, we need to pray on it. We should talk to our pastors about it. I felt like I've been having that thought in my mind for a while already to do a podcast. And Carmen, she always likes to, I call it her TED Talks when she gets on her lives and she shares what's going on. So I figured, you know what? We do this over the phone all the time. Like, it might as well just go ahead and start this and see where it goes. Hopefully, you guys can go ahead and relate to us. Because like she mentioned, this is kind of more like behind the scenes when you give your life to the Lord, when you are walking with him. Like, it is a struggle every day. It's hard. It's freaking hard. Like,
It's really hard.
there is no lie. Like, I'm just keeping it real. There's times where, and I know Carmen can relate to me, like, where we're going through something and we're just like, you know what, God, let it be today. Just take me already, because it's ghetto here. Like,
I probably want to die a lot more than she does.
yeah.
I'm always like, yeah, today's the day, Tanya.
Let's share what we have our little thing when you tell me that.
Oh, so I had came across this meme one time where I think it was a comedian.
Was it?
Yeah, he's a comedian.
Okay.
So he's diagnosed with, I think it's like manic depression or something like that, which you guys know, like I talk about my mental health a lot. And he struggles with suicidal thoughts. And I guess he had called his friend one day and was like, yeah, today's the day. Like, I'm done. Today's the day I'm going to do it. And the friend didn't really know what to say. So the friend's like, I think you need
gotta have a banana.
You need to have a banana. And then my son, he actually does this funny thing where he always thinks that a hike is going to solve my life. So every time I'm going through an episode, he's like, Mom, you just need to go on a hike. And me, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go on a hike and then I'm going to throw myself off the damn cliff because that's how I'm feeling. So,
yeah,
that's our thing. Yeah, my earrings, they're like my favorite earrings. Okay, so what's going on in your life, Tanya?
Let's see. What of my many episodes would I like to talk about? I don't really feel like starting it off with my loneliness, but I'm gonna do it anyways. What the heck?
I knew we were gonna cry on this.
Oh yeah, and we're crybabies.
She was like, Lord, it's been 83 years.
I'm like, Lord, I tried that filter when it said, how long is it gonna take for you to get married? And it said 27 years.
Yeah, and I actually did the math the other day because I was like, how much time do we have left on this godforsaken planet? And it turns out that so the last study was done in 2023, and it said that women will live longer than men. So women will live to like 81, I think.
Yeah,
81. And I'm 42 and she's 43. So I was like, we still got like 30 something years left.
Yeah.
So if God, wants us to live that long.
Yeah.
Hopefully not, but still.
Like, we want to come home with you already.
But okay, go.
Okay, so little quick short story.
Here it goes.
Okay, so I got out of a really bad relationship about a year ago. Literally, it's been a year. So I'm taking this as a fresh start. I'm taking this as trying to protect, my purity now. And lately, loneliness has been getting to me. And I thought I was able to handle it, because I'm like, in my word, praying, listening to worship music, making sure I'm going to church. I'm constantly talking to Carmen. Just trying to like fill my mind and my heart with godly things. But then the enemy, he's going to come and if there's anything that he sees in you, he's going to come and plant something in you. And he knows what I desire, what my heart desires. So yeah, I desire to be a wife. I'm pretty sure a lot of women desire that. And I've never been married, by the way. So loneliness is just kind of like trying to creep in. And I've like entertained a conversation with a friend. But
I wasn't there to give her the chancla.
Yeah, because she would have whooped my husband.
I would have whooped her ass.
She's like, psh.
I would have been like, you're being fast. The Lord, I thought the Lord delivered you from being a tramp. I thought we were past this.
It's like that one meme where like that who is it, Dr. Phil telling the girl, so you were a hoe, and she was like, back in the day, but for a little bit.
How
for a
long?
little bit.
How long were you a hoe for?
Oh yeah, how long were you a hoe?
Little minute.
Little minute. Well, anywho, I started feeling convicted, and I was like, you know what? It's not my time, obviously, and God's timing is always, perfect, and it's hard. It is hard to rely on that. It's hard to, to have faith in like, okay, God, you're gonna give me the desires I want, but my desires have to align with His will. And I don't think a lot of people know that because I didn't know that, but it makes sense. And so I had to confess, and I confessed to God, and I also like confessed to Carmen because I tell her everything. And also too, sometimes I'm the type of person that whatever I'm going through, whether it's bad or good, I just need to have someone to help me to filter that out, help me to like recognize what I'm doing wrong or what direction I'm going. Because it's always great to have someone like an accountability partner, friend, should I say, accountability friend, or people around you. It doesn't necessarily have to be friends; it can be family members.
Well, we also have to make sure that we have a person. So you can't have a yes friend. You got to make sure that you have a friend that could tell you about yourself.
Right.
Like.
And this is not beer, okay?
It's not talk can.
Yeah, not talk can. This drink is bomb, by the way. I highly recommend it. They have different flavors. Screenshot it.
Please sponsor us. We're poor.
Sponsor us, Nella.
So, yeah. So I think that whole thing what she was talking about, where you said you always have to have like a friend, accountability, somebody, right? You can't. It's got to be somebody that one can speak into your life. Like one, don't be like if you're on this walk with the Lord, and we have people on here that are going to watch this playback that are not believers, or whatever the case may be. Like wherever you are, like that's your own personal thing. But I think that this is something that goes hand in hand with whether you're a believer or whether you're not a believer. Like if you're trying to get somewhere in life, well, first of all, me, I'm not gonna allow nobody to give me advice if they're not somebody that that they follow God. Like that's just me. That's just my personal thing, but also I'm not gonna go and get advice from somebody that is like either intimidated or afraid to keep it real with me, because like you got to know that sometimes you're the problem, and you have to have a friend that's gonna have the boldness to say that to you, that's gonna say like, nah, you tripping.
Yeah.
So it can't just be anybody. Like you can't just have a random friend that, because there's a lot of friends that they're not really I heard this today. I don't know who said it, but it was like a video, I think, on TikTok, but he said something like, a lot of people aren't your friends. A lot of people aren't friends with you. They're friends with your sin. And the minute that you try to cut that sin out of your life,
they're gone.
You lose the friend.
Yep.
So you will have friends in your life that are gonna be like, nah, it's not even that big of a deal. Like whatever, just go on and get yours and call it a day.
Yep. But. Yeah. And on that note, like, you got to be cautious, like what you share with your friends, because I've also went through that where because I value my friendships so much. And there's been a few friends where I don't talk to them anymore, and I valued that friendship for so long, and it's just like it's heartbreaking because like we've been friends for so many years, and it's just someone that I thought or imagined that they were going to be in my life until the end of my time, but come to find out that God didn't want me to have that friendship anymore, because the way they are was bringing this old side that God is trying to have me, let go of. and it wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work, and it sucks. It does suck because there's memories and laughter and things that you've been through, like with your friends, and sometimes like God's just like, nah, this friend was just only for a season and that's it, and you can't take this friend with you. um and actually, me and Carmen, we've known each other since what, like
Here comes the story.
I'm like, since 1999.
Here comes the story about I didn't talk to her for a little bit.
Yeah, so let me go there real quick.
We became friends in
like 2010, no, or something like that.
2010.
And the thing is, we became friends on social media. I never thought that I would have a friendship from social media, but I know how to sew, so I used to make handbags, blankets, just stuff like that. And I came across her through a mutual friend back in the days, and then we started talking about like, oh, there's this event going on, like the art walk, and
we were also both drunks.
Oh yeah,
and we were both loud and crazy. So
yeah,
like we instantly connected.
Yeah. So yeah, and yeah, there was a time, we weren't keeping in touch that much, but God was doing things in her and God was doing things in me, and now God brought us back, and He's strengthening our sisterhood, fellowshipping. Like every day, I thank God for allowing her to still be a part of my life, because I could be crazy and I could make some real dumb decisions.
Me too.
And when I talk to her, she'll give me the chocolate and she'll tell me what's up. And me personally, I need that. I need that in my life. I do have my mom that also, she's like that too. But I don't know. I think it's different when you have the relationship you have with your mother or your parents versus like a friendship, or sisterhood. Because I don't have sisters, so I have brothers. I'm the only girl. Maybe that's why I'm a little cray cray. So yeah, I don't know. Do you want to add anything to that? I don't want to be the only one talking this whole hour.
Yeah, what's going on in my life? Not a damn thing. Now, what's going on in my life? I'm always going through something. I think that saying in Spanish, like te ahogas en un vaso de agua. Mm-hmm. I think I tend to do that. I catastrophize. So like, it could be like a minor situation, but because I'm such a like emotional person, in my mind, it's like I will, like, I'm just like,
you're blowing it up.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, my life is over. Like, and I know it sounds dramatic, like, but it's just surreal. Like, so what's going on in my life right now? What happened today? I actually had kind of like a little bit of an realization today, which is not new. Like, we've talked about this before. But I actually had a conversation with Mario on the phone earlier where I was telling him that I realized like I need to check myself on like my health. So like not because like I eat bad or because I'm whatever, like, but I was telling him like stress. A friend of mine, like I recently talked to, her sister had a stroke and she's young, and it just like tripped me out, and a lot of like people in my family, like all probably like my mom and
you want to answer that?
Yeah, let me just hold yeah. So a lot of the women in my family, like they struggle with it's like what is it, high blood pressure, and because of stress, like which is crazy thing, but I tend to stress a lot, and I stress about things that I literally cannot control. which is like kind of, I guess that's probably like the thing that I'm kind of going through right now, huh? That's what we've been talking a lot about. I'm a control freak.
I'm like, You're like, get out of my house.
Really? We're gonna go there right now? Are we gonna fight online? Yeah, I'm a control freak. I try. Well, this is what I do. I try to be everybody's mom. And I don't know why I do that. I guess because like I needed a mom really bad, even though I had one, but like I had a mom, but my mom was like there but not there, you know? So I tried to like fix everybody's life. And I have a savior complex. I think that's what it is.
But I think most people are like that. Like parents, I think the majority moms are like that, I want to say. Because at least the people that we've come through, I feel like there's some.
Well, you're a mom and you don't ever try to be my mom. But I always try to be your mom.
That's true. I think you're more stronger in that area than I am.
But one of the things that the Lord has been dealing with me in is like, you need to let go. Like, and I have posted about this before. Like, I need to let go of things that I just can't control. My kids is like probably the main thing because they're not even kids. Like, they're my son's 22. My daughter will be 21 at the end of the year. And the Lord has really been working with me in that area where like he just constantly keeps reminding me like, let go, let go, let go. Like, you're not God in their life. And it's hard to let go. I think because like my upbringing was so chaotic, and I feel like it took so long for us to finally so I could like kind of catch my footing, and I don't want my kids to take that long. Like I was 37 years old when I got saved. I was 38 when I got sober. And even though Mario and I have been together for like, 20 years, and we've talked about this, him and I, and we've talked about this with couples that we've like ministered to, that even though we've been together for a long time, like our happiest years have really just been in the past, like, I don't know, maybe 3, like since when Mario gave his life to the Lord, everything changed. Because I gave my life to the Lord a couple years before him. But when he surrendered to God, our relationship changed. And we're like living our happiest years. So obviously, like I want my kids to experience life to the fullest of their, the best of their ability in younger, like not until they're 37, basically. But God has like showed me over and over, like it's not gonna happen in your timing, and you just have to let go. So yeah, that's what's going on in my life, and it's really hard to do it. And I be getting mad at myself and at God sometimes.
Yeah.
Wait, let's answer this question.
Oh yeah.
She asked, how do we find the right church? I was raised in the church. Well, okay. Let me just say this, girl.
She's like rolling up the sleeves.
Yeah, because if we're gonna talk about hypocrites being in the church, we could talk about hypocrites being everywhere. You could go to Walmart and find a hypocrite. You could go to the bar and find a hypocrite. So this is the thing that we need to know, and we need to, and I'm glad we're actually talking about this, because there is this like picture that people have of Christianity that like we're supposed to be perfect. Like you're a believer, you got saved, you go to church on Sundays, and there's no flaws in you, right? Or like you're not supposed to do X, Y, and Z because you're a Christian. But the reality of it is that we're human. Like just because, like I could be in church every Sunday and still have a bad day and be like, bro, like I really don't like this girl that sits in my chair every day when I get there on Sundays. Like, why is she sitting in my chair? She knows I sit there, and I'll turn around and smile like, hey sis, what's going on? And then I'll turn around and be like, she's sitting in my fucking chair. That would be like, I'm a hypocrite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's address that. So let's just remember that we are not all perfect. We are human. Like, if you're expecting to go to a church where everybody is just going to be nice and everybody's going to be loving, and yes, those are fruits of the spirit, like kindness and, gentleness and all of these things. But like, we're human, and it's completely like impossible to find the perfect church. I don't think you're ever going to find the perfect church. And I think we could speak about this a little bit, because we've kind of like
our experience with the churches
like
we've gone,
kind of bounce around. It's like,
so
the church that I got saved at is like considered it's considered a mega church in the IE. And they are like a huge church, massive church. They have a ton of services. Like, they have their Wednesday service, and they have a service on Saturday night. They have 3 services on Sunday, and each service is packed. Like, they're a huge church. And I had no concept of like what Christian church was like when I got saved. Like, I didn't know anything about, I just knew like, yeah, God is real. And like, even that was kind of like, is he really though? You know what I mean? Like, I was kind of right there. Cause I grew up quote unquote like Catholic, but we didn't really have like a relationship with God. My mom, like, we weren't Catholics, like hardcore Catholics, because there's some Catholics that are really devoted, and they're about their business. But I didn't grow up like that. I grew up just in like, my family called themselves Catholic. We went to church when somebody got baptized, when somebody got married, something like that. But we didn't really know what it was like to have a relationship with God. And we didn't know anything about prayer or anything like that. So I like came to know Christ at this church that I got saved at, and it was huge. And I remember when I first started going there, like, I was like in love with this church. I was all about it. Like, I loved all the pastors, and I think I like kind of, no, I'm not going to say I think or kind of, because I really did. I went through a process even in that church, because I started to idolize the pastors. And because I didn't really know, I thought Christian people, like, they're pastors, they're not just Christians, but they're pastors, they're leadership. So I put them in these pedestals that I should never have put them at. And I was there for 3 years.
Yeah.
I was there for 3 years. She was there with me too, because she started going there. And we loved the church, and everything was great. And I went through, like, I could say like I was church hurt. There was a moment, because obviously, like, everything that I went through in my personal life, when I lost my brother and my dad, and then I was like having to take care of my mom, and then like all of this chaos was happening in my life. And I was, like I said earlier, like, I was very open about what was going on in my life at the time. Like, I was super transparent, and like I was like really putting all my business out there. And a lot of the pastors at that church used to follow me on social media. And I remember, like, I was super hurt, because I was just barely I had just got saved. So I really didn't have that many friends, like, in the world, like worldly friends. And I was like going through the whole, like, trying to be sober thing. And then, but I really felt like alone or abandoned by the church, because it was like, I don't have church community which is like technically you guys are supposed to be my new family, and everybody's watching my life fall apart online, and none of these pastors are reaching out to me. And I actually made a comment to somebody from the church. It was like a private conversation that I had with her, but I knew she was gonna. I knew she was gonna tell them. You know, I knew she was gonna tell leadership, and I was like, yeah, like, you know, I'm kind of hurt about this. And of course, she did go, and you know, she told everybody. And the next day, like, everybody called me, like all the pastors called me, and this and that. And I was actually getting Mario and I were getting counseling from one particular pastor during that time, and he was the one that I kind of went off on, where I was like, you know, I just kept it real with him, you know, and I told him, like, you guys are all watching my life fall apart online, and nobody's reaching out to me, and it feels like shit, is what I told him. And like that whole thing, like it was definitely a teaching experience for me, because the Lord showed me that they were not perfect. And I remember like having a conversation with God where God told me, like, you don't go to church to worship them or to find them, or you go to church to find me. And I just use them, but they're not perfect. They're human, and they need me just as much as you need me. So you need to remember that. And that helped me to give, I guess you could say, like, leadership and pastors like more grace, that they're not perfect. You know what I mean? They're just out there trying to do their best too, you know? Some of them are not trying to do their best, but some of them are just trying to do their best. But you got to keep in mind, like, they have lives too. They have marriages, they have problems, they have kids. They leave church and they have to deal with life too, just how we have to deal with life. So that taught me. And I grew a lot in that church, but eventually we did leave. And then we went to a different church, which was a lot smaller. It was a smaller congregation. And there was a process that the Lord took us through even in that church, because when I left the first church,
when you left, I still stayed around.
Yeah.
And I had told her later on, I didn't want to tell her when she told me that she wasn't going to attend there anymore, that I stopped going because I actually liked attending there. I felt like I was, receiving a word and feeding my spirit, but I felt lonely too. Like, I felt like I didn't want to attend this church that I was attending with her, because she had invited me. But also too, I felt like, well, I can't tell her that because God's doing something with her. There's a reason why she had to go. And so, since I don't hear God telling me that, I'm just going to still continue to go on. But then it came to a point where it was just like, no, actually, yeah. At that time, I was with my ex, and he would talk a lot of crap about the church. And I just said, you know what, let's go try something. Let's go try another church, because he would always tell me, I want to go to a smaller church. And she had invited me to this smaller church, and I was like, okay, let's go check it out and go from there. So then I followed behind, so to say,
Yeah. And we ended up at this smaller church because we went through a process, like Mario and I, where what's crazy is that Mario got saved privately. He privately he didn't like raise his hand in church or anything like that. But right before we had left the big church that we were at, the one pastor that we had considered to be our pastor when we were at that church, my husband went up to him and had a conversation with him privately. And basically, like, I don't know, I wasn't there. I actually didn't even know, which was a funny thing. Like, I was salty about this. But I tend to make a big deal about things. So Mario didn't want to make a big deal about it. So he didn't tell me that he had given his life to the Lord. A week later, I go to church, and I think I went by myself that time, because he couldn't go for whatever reason. And some of the staff of the church, they were like congratulating me on his salvation, and I was like, what? And then one person was like, yeah, like I heard that Mario got saved, that he gave his life to the Lord. And I was like, no way. And so they were all congratulating me and stuff, and I was like, man, so because they watched me cry at the altar for 3 years. Like, really, that's just what would happen. Like, I'd go there just to cry. My life was in shambles. Like, my son was running amok. My daughter, she had her thing going on. I was a mess. My marriage, like, we were on the verge of a divorce. Like, there was a lot going on in my life. So I was constantly crying. And I always sat at the front. So they watched, which is crazy because they watched me go to church by myself and cry and cry and cry. And then all of a sudden they see my daughter join me, and she's coming to church with me. And, and then all of a sudden they see my son join us every now and then. And then all of a sudden they see Mario. And then there was a couple times that we went as a family. Mind you, the people that were there and the pastors, a lot of them, they were praying for our family, even though, because they saw us there all the time. So they were praying for our family. So they watched our family come to Christ. And then we all got baptized there, except for Mario. Mario didn't get baptized there, but he got saved there. And then literally like probably months later, we left. Mm-hmm. We left that church. And when we left that church, we went through a process where, like, the Lord told us privately, like he told me privately, he told Mario privately, like, I want you guys to take a break for 30 days. So for 30 days, we did church online. So we just watched services, did devotionals, whatever, prayer, all this stuff. And I already wanted to go to this church. Like, I wanted to, I had heard about this church, and I wanted to go and try it, and I wanted to go and check it out. But Mario was not ready. And then the Lord told me to be quiet and to let Mario make the decision. And I believe that it was because he was putting things in order. So because now Mario had given his life to the Lord, he was putting Mario in the position of leadership, to where, like, I need him to lead spiritually as well. And I need you to take the back seat on it. So the Lord told me, when you guys go back to church, whether it be at this church or any church for that matter, he will lead and you will follow. So I was like, fine, I'll be quiet. But when you leave, I'll be talking again.
Yep. I'll be talking.
So I was quiet for 30 days. And then eventually Mario was like, okay, right, we're going back to church and we're going to go try this church. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm excited. So then we ended up at that church, and
another thing happened.
Yeah, we were there at that church.
How long were we there for? Like a year or two?
We were there for a year. A little bit over a year.
Yeah.
We were there for a little bit over a year. And we grew a lot in that church too. I think the Lord definitely, like, stretched us. Mario grew a lot. So there was definitely purpose in our transition to that church. I think we learned how to be in community a little bit better too, because it was a smaller congregation. So, like,
and everybody kind of knew everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we all went through our own different process there too. She was going through it.
Yeah.
She ended up going to that church eventually too. And then she started going, and we all were serving there. Mm-hmm. Which was cool.
It was
cool, besides, like, what was going on in our personal lives, like showing up on Sunday and, like, knowing, like, oh, you're here, you're serving today. And, like, it was cool.
Yeah. I'll admit it, like, I missed that church. And the reason why I took off is because, like, the relationship I was in, we were going to that church and we grew there too. But something happened, and obviously he wasn't going to leave. I didn't want to leave. my emotions were too high, and I just couldn't go to a church where the person I thought was going to be my life partner is there and hadn't apologized for what he done, didn't try to make things right, and he had the audacity to just
Is that too bright?
nah.
No, it's good.
He had the audacity to come and, because we were serving together too, because we were a couple, at that time, to come and tell me hi, like across from the church. I'll be on one side of the church and he'll be on the other side, and he'll literally will make it a point to come be like, "Hi, Tanya, how are you doing?"
And then I would turn to look at her because we would most of the time serve at the same time.
Yeah.
I was like in the front, like on the front counter or whatever. And I would look over to her and she'd be over there like planning a murder in her head.
Yep.
And I'd be like, yeah, this ain't gonna work out.
Yeah. So it sucked because I liked serving, Again, the church was smaller, everybody kind of knew everybody. When you walk in there, everyone's like, "Hey, how are you? How you been? How's your week?" It was that type of like, community. And I loved it. But yeah, mentally and emotionally and spiritually, I could not be there if he was going to be there, because I knew that I wasn't going to grow. And I knew that I probably would have resulted in doing something real stupid, or I would have gone back with him and just let him think that what he did was okay. And I couldn't. And so, yeah, that's why I'm not there no more.
Yeah. And Mario and I, we knew that our time was coming where we were gonna have to leave. Because we were going through a transition too. Like, I don't really like. I don't want to get into it. Like, some, but yeah. I mean,
Maybe another time.
Yeah, maybe another time. But our thing was that I don't know what the thing is that in that, because this is like in real time, right? So this is actually something that's still unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
That God has taken us from like this huge church to a smaller congregation to now a super small congregation. This is like where we're at right now. For Mario and I know that there's a purpose behind that. I just don't know what that is. So where we are now is like, it's very, very small. And that's just where we feel like we are supposed to be at the moment. But I will say this, because I want to get back to what she was saying, like, how do you find the perfect church? Or how do you find the right church? Or you're like,
you're not gonna find the perfect church.
Yeah, there is no perfect church.
Because I mean, let's be real, like, even people that are, at that level, like pastors or anyone in leadership in the church, they're still human at the end of the day.
It's like a family. Like,
yeah,
there's always drama in a family.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how picture perfect you try to make it look, at the end of the day, there's still somebody that's mad at somebody. Somebody woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And especially when you start to serve,
you see it more.
You see a whole different side of church. But it's just part of it, it's just part of it.
Kind of like a workplace, like when wherever you're working at, no matter what area or what department you work in,
even if you love your job,
there's always going to be some kind of drama, right?
So what I think is important is, and I hate to say this because I struggle with this, but it's not really about how you feel. Like, you might find a church that has like solid doctrine, that they're preaching the gospel, they're preaching from the Bible, they're teaching good, but you might not like you might not like the building, or you might not like the worship, or you probably don't like the way that people are at the church, because one of the things that you start to learn, well, we don't really have that because we're so small, but in larger churches you start to see kind of like cliques, people that have been there a long time, and then you have like the elders, and you tend to see that.
Hold on, The same person that asked the questions is saying, I mean a church where I'm going to feel that I'm growing, being prayed for, people that are taking care of my spiritual life. You want to comment or?
So that okay, yeah. So that's what I was gonna go to. Like, I think those are the things that you have to think about when you decide to go to a church. You have to think about, like, okay, I might not like this place, but I'm spiritually being fed and I'm learning. Now, if you don't have that, right? Like if you're there and it could look so picture perfect and everything's great, but you don't have that, then that's not the place for you, because the most important thing about being in church is that you need to grow and you need to learn the gospel, and you need to learn, you need to have biblical, like, sound teaching. You need to be growing. So um I would recommend that you visit different churches, like,
Yeah.
and give churches a shot. Not, don't just go once and think that all your needs are going to be met in that one visit. Like, you might have to say, you know what, I'm going to stick to it for, I don't know, a month or two, and see, if this is the right fit for you, if you're learning, do you hear the Lord speak to you? Like you said, are people praying for you, and all. And also, like, don't expect for everybody else to be in charge of your growth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember from the very first church that we started going to, our pastor at that church at that time, um, he's the founder of that church. Um, he said one time, like, what do you, like, pray, like, lay hands on yourself, like, pray for yourself, like, you come into church and you're asking me for prayer every weekend for the same thing over and over and over. At some point, it's like, you have the same power. Like, he said this, I don't know if you remember, were you there with that time when he said, like, the Holy Spirit that's in me is in you, the same power that rose Christ from the dead that's in me is in you. Like, you can lay hands on yourself, you can pray for yourself. Just because I'm a pastor doesn't mean I'm going to fix your life. And it's true. Like, I think a lot of times we go to church, and I went through that in the beginning where I was at my first church. Like, I thought if they prayed for me because, well, they're pastors, so they must have more power than I do. But in reality, it's like, they're there because they have a calling to teach and shepherd the flock. But they're not responsible for my salvation. They're responsible to teach me. And yeah, God will hold them accountable. But the Bible tells us, you're responsible to work out your fear. What is it, like, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in the beginning of her walk, I discipled her, but which I was responsible for a lot of the things, and I had to make sure that I was careful and all of that, right? But we got to a point now where, like, I'm no longer discipling her. We're in a place where iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
And
and it took some time to be where we're at right now.
Yeah, it took
like 3 years, kind of.
It's funny because I used to get so frustrated with you.
I know, and I can tell that she would get frustrated because I would constantly come with her with the same thing over and over and over. And the thing is, deep down inside, I knew everything that she was telling me. I already knew, and a part of me wanted her to, like, agree what.
Yeah, and I remember I told her one time too. I was like, you keep talking about this because you want me to change my mind about what I'm saying, but I'm not going to do that. But I remember one time I was having a because I've had to minister to people that are hard-headed and that are stubborn. Like, Mario and I have ministered to couples.
Like that.
Yeah, that have ministered to couples, and most of the time, the women I see the women, and they're stubborn, and they always think they're right, and they think the husband is the problem, which was me in the beginning of my walk. And then I've had to minister to people that they have disagreements with the Bible, right? Where, like, they say, well, I love God and I want to walk with the Lord, but I don't agree with this. Where I've had to kind of come at them hard, like, well, which kind of sucks, and it's not very loving and gentle, but I realized that the Lord uses me with these women because of this specific thing that I have, which is like, I just keep it how I keep it real. Like,
Yeah.
and I've had to tell them like, well, it doesn't really matter like what you think. Like the Bible's the Bible, and God's word is perfect, and God's law is perfect. And whether you agree with it or not, um, it doesn't, like, I'm sorry, but it doesn't matter. Like, who do you think you are that you have the right to disagree with what the Bible says?
Yeah.
And I've even had to say to, them like, well, did God force you to follow him? No, he didn't. You have free will. This was your choice, right? Like, he stands at the door and knocks, but you make the choice to open it or not. And I've had to talk to people this way. And then I find myself feeling bad because I'm like, damn, like I was hard on them. And I remember one time I was in the shower and I was telling God, like, why do you send these people to me that I have to like talk to some kind of way? Do you remember that? Yeah. I was like, why do you send me people that are so stubborn? And I hear God tell me like clear as day. He's like, have you looked in the mirror? And I was like, oh, he really telling me about myself. Like, the reason why he uses me in that way is because I was that person, So anyways, it was hard with her in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I used to get frustrated, but now we're here. And now
at one point, I think she wanted to sock me. Shoot. I'm just kidding.
I was like, at what point in discipleship do you get to beat them? Just flipping through. I was going through the Bible like, do we ever get to hit them? But yeah, so just go to church, girl. Like, you're not always gonna find. Let me tell you this, okay? Just 2 weeks ago, I was like, I'm done with church.
Yeah.
Like, I'm done with church altogether. I don't want to do it. I don't want to have nothing to do with ministry. I don't want to go to church. I'm done. I literally went to God and was like, I am done with the church in general, just in general as a whole. I was like, I like church culture, like Christian culture, all the things. Like, I just was like, I'm done. I don't want to do it no more. I'm just going to do, it's just going to be me and my Bible and whatever I watch online, and I'm cool. I'm just, that's it. And then obviously, like, God had to remind me, like, well, like, you are a part of that church because you are the church. It's not about the building. It's about the people. It's about you, like
the body of Christ.
The body of Christ. So I had to check myself, because like, yeah, like, I can't, I can't do that. Like, I have to be in community and I have to, but I do think that, you don't just find the perfect church and stay there forever. Like,
yeah, because I mean, clearly, like what she's saying, like she's been through. Well, us three, we've been through 3 churches, So there's gonna be a time where you might find a church that you do feel like you fit in. You're being spiritually fed. You're in community. You're serving, and you're like, I love it here. This is gonna be my permanent home church. But then one day God's gonna be like, nah, I need you to go somewhere else. Because if you really think about it, like, everything's for him, we're like his planters, and wherever he wants us to grow, he's going to lead us there, whether we resist it and be stubborn and we don't like it, but eventually he's going to get us there one way or another.
Yeah.
Even if we're like literally crawling, he's going to get us there. So again, like, there is no perfect church. I would say to pray on it. Go ahead and visit different churches in your area. And if you do online church, if that may work for you right now in this season, then do that, in the meantime, and just continue to pray to God until you hear God telling you, like, okay, attend this church, and pray before you go to the church. Pray that your mind is open and your heart is open to receive what he is trying to tell you through that sermon.
And also too, like, if there's friction, I think that's a sign. I think sometimes I would say most of the time, where you feel friction
is where you're
going to grow the most. If you allow it. Like, you could resist it as much as you want, but if you're walking with the Lord, if you're genuinely walking with the Lord and you're waking up every day and you're saying, like, I choose this, like, God, I'm walking with you, whatever, like, I'm doing this thing that you are calling me to do. God will constantly make you go through that same test over and over and over until you learn your lesson. Like,
Yeah.
it might look a different way, but you're going to constantly go through that test. So I think that if you find a church and you feel easily offended about something, that might be the very place where you belong. And I'm not saying sit there and let people treat you like shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, but I think that it's an opportunity to look inward. Well, why am I offended? I heard this pastor, Pastor Will Chung.
Chung. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. He's good too.
Yeah, he's really good. And you guys could watch him online, but
His church's name is called Beloved, I think.
yeah, he's in
somewhere in LA, I think. Right? Is it Baldwin Park?
Baldwin Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baldwin Park. But he said that offense is a prophet. And I just thought that was so good because he said, when you feel offense, is God revealing something to you that he wants to heal? So, like, that blew my mind because if you think about it, you could sit there and you could say, well, this person said this, that, and the other. But I think God always wants us to look inward, you know? And I think if you sit back and if you think to yourself, like, well, why did I get offended at this? And you choose to make it an opportunity to grow.
Or how do you do the heart? Just saying thank you.
If you look at it like, this is an opportunity for me to grow. So why am I offended at this? Or what is it revealing inside of me that the Lord wants to heal? So that's just something to think about, you know?
And that was something hard to swallow.
Yeah.
I think for the both of us too.
Yeah.
Because there was a time, I want to say like probably most of my life where I couldn't process, like there was things that would trigger me and people around me that really knew who I was. I would be like telling myself, well, they know this triggers me. Like, why would they do this or say this or whatever? But when that came up, when Carmen shared that with me, I was like, dang, even that triggered me too.
Yeah, shit. Yeah. I was even mad because I was like, you know, it's always something. Like, why do I always got to be the one to like make the change? And why do I always, you know, but it's just the way it is, girl. So I hope that you don't give up. Don't give up on finding a church that, you know, that is a good match. I mean, I don't know, like you might have to try a bunch for a while. And if you find one that's biblically sound, I think is the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm not trying to like compare anything, but like one of the pastors that we like to listen to from time to time, Pastor Philip Mitchell. I know people have like, you know, their opinions on him and that's perfectly fine. But me personally, when I came across him, like I was blown away.
But I think, you know, one thing I've realized, I think that I think there's pastors for each season of your walk.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning of my walk, and I don't want to turn this into like what pastor's good and what pastor's not, but I just want to share this because I think it's important.
Yeah.
In the beginning of my walk, I used to listen to Pastor Stephen Furtick a lot.
I remember.
And I learned a lot. And I learned a lot. And it strengthened my faith. And it helped me a lot. But I did get to a point in my walk with Christ where the Lord was like, I don't want you to watch him anymore. It's time for different teaching, for a different type of teaching. And then I moved on to, you know, something different. And I started realizing that the pastors got a little bit more like hard.
Yeah.
Like it was more like
they were giving you the chancla, so to say, huh?
Yeah. It was like,
yeah.
But I think the Lord gives that, like he meets you where you are,
yeah.
You know? He gives you that grace that like when you're a baby in the Lord and you're just now getting like you're just getting your feet wet. And I think God is so good that he meets you where you are, but he loves you too much to leave you there. So even though he meets you in that place and he says, okay, like this is the kind of feeding that I'm going to do for you. But you eventually get to a place where God is like, it's time to eat solid food. And, you know, it's, you go from crawling to walking to like,
running.
yeah, where it's like, okay, it's time for more. It's time for more. Just how we do with our kids, you know, when they're babies and they're growing up. And like, sometimes we watch them fall and we run to pick them up, but then we get to a point where it's like, well, they got to learn how to walk. So I'm not going to pick you up every time you fall. And that's the same thing that God does with us. And especially with the churches that we go to, the preachers that we listen to, the content that we take in the beginning, God will meet you where you're at. He gives you that grace, but eventually you will mature and God will pull you to deeper places.
Yeah.
So we've been talking for a while. You got anything that you want to say? I feel like this is a good little first.
Yeah. I thought we were going to be quiet. I'm a psych.
I hope that you guys enjoyed this. And
yeah, and also like prayer is so powerful. So just pray, you know, and keep it real with God too, you know, because that's what he wants. Even though God already knows everything, even though if you talk to him in your mind in silence, me personally, I feel that God wants you to be out loud, you know, and tell him like, you know what, God, I'm just going to keep it real with you, you know, X, Y, and Z, you know, help me out in this. And sometimes he'll do it like this, and sometimes it'll be just a process. Like everything's a process. Everything's a process. So we hope that you find a church that you're able to get spiritually fed. And also too, like the enemy will use that too.
yeah.
The enemy will be, you know, he'll use little things like how you said earlier, where people are being hypocrite.
Girl, the devil is sitting in church next to you.
Yeah, that's, yep.
Like, people think the devil ain't at church. The devil's at church.
Yep.
He is all up in there.
Remember, he always wants to imitate God.
Yeah.
And he will, you know, make it seem like it is God, but it's not.
That's why your relationship with Christ matters the most. Like, your relationship, your debt. Like, are you willing to ride this thing out? Like, no matter how hard it gets, you know?
Cause it is going to get hard. Like, we're constantly talking about like, damn, this ain't no joke. When people say this is hard, it really is hard. It is hard. And that's why community is very, very important.
Yeah.
And that's why you'll hear a lot of people say like, oh, did you go to church on Sunday? Church this, church that. Because I've also heard people, because I was once like this too, were like, I don't need to go to church. You know, I have a relationship with God. I believe in him and this and that. And I'm good where I'm at, you know, in my house, in my room, whatever. But now in my walk, I realize, oh, I get it. I get why everyone's always constantly saying like, you got to go to church. You got to go to church. Because it's really about community. Because we weren't designed to do life on our own. We weren't. So it's important to be in community.
I think that God sometimes will use isolation for small seasons.
Yeah.
But you're never supposed to stay in isolation.
Yeah.
Because the devil will use that. Like,
oh yeah, he will.
Yeah, isolation is a breeding ground for demons, for sure.
Yep. It's like they can't wait till you get there.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, it's time to play.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be like that. Yeah, I think we're done.
Yeah. Until next time, I guess, right?
Yeah. What should we do? Like I don't want to do it too often. What do you think? Once a month?
I think that's too long. I knew you were gonna be like, she over here cussing me out in her head right now.
That's too long? I get overstimulated really fast.
The Lord's working on her. The Lord's working on her.
Yes. We could do every 3 weeks.
All right, let's ask the audience.
What do you guys think? All 6 of you guys.
How often do you guys think we should do this? I say every 2.5 weeks. Let's meet in the middle, I think. I know she really wants to push it for a month.
I think once every 3 weeks. Maybe once a month. See, she agrees once a month.
Okay.
So to the women, once a month. I think once a month is good for now. Let's go through some shit, and then we'll be back.
But I feel like we're always going through some shit all the time, though.
We are.
Watch, tomorrow we're gonna go through something and be like, damn.
Once every 2 weeks. Let's try once a month for now.
Okay.
And then we'll see how it goes. Because I think this time we were kind of just trying to see how we were gonna go about this. I don't know. We should have topics, or should we just? Because I wanted to really kind of just be like, well, this is what we're going through right now. But
yeah, because the whole purpose of us doing this is that we wanted to keep it as real as possible, right? Like, we didn't want to have a script, so to say.
Yeah.
So we wanted to just kind of like freestyle it in a sense. So, you guys can relate to us because, I mean, I know when we were going through stuff, like, I mean, I know for me, I'm like, dang, is there anyone out there that's going exactly through the same things that I'm going through? Because a lot of people, they like to sugarcoat things and not really give you the full, full blown, like, realness of it. Because maybe, I don't know, maybe they didn't want me to look at them some type of way or whatever.
I think it's because there's this, I think it's what we were saying earlier. It's like this concept of Christianity that everything is like cookie cutter and perfect. And the reality of it is that that's just not how it is. Like, it just doesn't look that way.
So every week with a strong topic that leads to the next week. Topics and your experience on that topic. Are you down with, like, if any of you guys have topics that we can touch on? Are you okay with that or no?
Yeah, that's cool. I'm down with that.
That sounded so fake.
Because what if they're like, we want you to talk about this, and I'm like, wait a minute, no, we'll do that. I'm down. Later on, I'll be like, yeah, I think that's good. But yeah, so I want to go back to it real quick before we get off. Is the whole like, we want you guys to know that you don't have to be perfect for God to meet you. Like, because I think that everybody thinks that Christians think that they're perfect. And I think it's because we've had a misrepresentation of what Christianity is. Because we get self-righteous and we think, I have found the Lord and I know everything and I'm all good now. But no, it doesn't look that way. Like, it's not
peaches and cream.
It's not. Yeah. It's not. Like I said earlier, like, I could be at church one day and the next day I'm like, I'm so done flipping out. You know what I mean? Like, or losing it. And I think what we wanted to remind you guys, and even like for you guys to be encouraged that, wait, like, it's not perfect and this walk is hard and you don't have to be cleaned up and walk and talk and look a certain way so that you could be saved and so you can have Christ in your life. I think that we want for you guys to know that God will meet you exactly where you're at. Like, God will meet you in the middle of your mess.
Yep.
And he'll walk with you and things will slowly start to fall off.
Yeah. I think maybe that's something we could talk about next time. Like, because I would come to her, like, recently, like, things that I knew where I had to get checked, but I would check myself, like self-righteousness, judgmentalness. These things were coming in my mind and I didn't like it. Like, it was to the point where I was like annoyed with myself because I'm like, why is this thought and this feeling like in me? Like, ugh, like, it just didn't feel good because people will get stuck there. And again, like, that's why people have this bad representation of like Christians, because I don't think that people really take the time to check their heart, you know, and maybe talk about it. I don't know. I mean, that's what I'm constantly telling her, like, dude, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. Like, I know it's not right. And, you know, we'll have these discussions and she'll help me like sort it out and like help me to realize like, okay, yeah, like you're being stupid, you know?
Yeah, it's my favorite thing to say. I'd like to tell you about yourself. Yeah, that's a good topic to talk about. But yeah, definitely, like, we're not all perfect and we don't think we are.
Yeah.
And we're definitely a mess,
A hot mess.
super hot mess, and we just want you guys to be encouraged that you could still keep walking even if you keep falling, as long as you keep getting back up and just pressing on. Keep your eyes on the prize, which is Jesus.
Yeah.
But I always make sure I tell people, like, nah, it's about to get rough. I'm that evangelist. I'm the evangelist that's like, yeah, your life ain't about to be perfect. Because when I got saved, my life got worse. And I'm not like trying to be Miss Gloomy, but it was like, it got worse and it got better at the same time.
Yeah, it's like in generalizing life, like you go through your ups and downs, right? It's the same thing, like following Christ. And it, you know, he even said it himself when he was here on earth that, like, when you're following me, like,
It's hard, yeah.
It's gonna be hard. It's not gonna be easy, and it's not.
Like, you're starting to, like, you're learning how to live, but you're dying every single day at the same time.
And surrendering is a daily thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to share that because there was for a while I thought just saying it once I was good. No, it's an everyday thing, and I think even maybe sometimes throughout the day.
Yeah, remember I said that to you?
Yeah.
Wait, do you not pay attention to me?
Sometimes.
I literally said that. I was like, you have to surrender this every day, sometimes twice a day. I literally said that. I know this bitch ain't trying to take credit for something. Dude, I teach you that?
I'm like, no, the Lord taught me that through you, okay?
You know what? We're done. We're done. We hope you guys enjoy this. I didn't want to keep it this long because I feel like who really wants to watch people for an hour and a half? But here we are, whatever. I think we should make it a point to keep it under an hour.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
and if we have to continue that conversation on the next one, then that's what we'll do.
Yeah. Because I think once it gets too long, people lose interest.
Hope you guys didn't lose interest.
Yeah, they lost interest for sure. There's only there's 5 people watching. They lost interest.
Well, we love you guys. And we'll see you next time.
In real time.
In real time.